But then again, you've always needed me, haven't you, Mr. Powers? Remember when I told you we're not so different, you and I? We're not so different, you and I. See, I did say that.
Welcome to Nox's Library, and today we're comparing CD Projekt Red's The Witcher 3 with the books again. Now, I don't want to make it seem like I'm ragging on the Witcher games because they are some of the best fantasy RPGs you can find out there, and while they aren't entirely true to the events of the books, they maintain the same world and the characters for the most part are the same people, just further along in their life. If I were to rank the game series, I'd give it an overall 8 out of 10 in terms of book accuracy, since some of the events do get left behind and some of the characters look quite different. For context, the Netflix stuff is like a 3 overall, maybe even a 2, but let's get into specifics and look into the cast of The Witcher 3, starting with the Witcher himself, Jerry of the River. Geralt of Rivia. Let's look at Geralt visually first, since the difference in personality is a bit more abstract. CD Projekt Red gave Geralt his white hair, generally grumpy lined face, and his eyes are similar to cat eyes, although this isn't permanent in the books. His eyes transition in and out of having vertical slits, like cats, but they aren't always bright yellow like they are in the games. Although the games do describe his eyes as unnatural, and they definitely are. They also made him more handsome in the game since he's meant to be scary looking and sinewy, but if I'm being honest, Game Geralt's appearance kind of makes sense given all the women he managed to get with in both the books and games. Obviously, I'm not going to dock points for his face scar and beard, because he gets the scar between the games and the books, and well, I'm not the fun police. If he wants to grow a beard, he can. But I may have to dock a few points for some of his equipment. His medallion is meant to be simpler in the books and is one of the few things that the Netflix series gets right. The game medallion is cooler though. It's not book accurate, but it's way cooler. However, we're not looking at the cool factor here, so sorry Jerry. The only other thing of note is his swords. You see, in the books, he usually carries one sword on his back and leaves the other on Roach, usually the silver sword. So, carrying 2 swords at once is a CD Projekt Red original. To be fair, he spends most of the books with one sword anyway, the dwarven blade called Seahill, which he gets from Zoltan Shive. Now, I've no real comments on his drip, it's pretty much all good here, and he sort of just wears whatever he can find, just like in the books, so no notes there. I also don't have much to say about his personality. He talks less than in the books. In fact, Book Geralt talks a lot and is a philosophical character who questions his own existence often. There's a moment where his medallion burns with his supposed last lead to finding Ciri, and he has a thought about him no longer being a Witcher, having a pretty major identity crisis. Game Geralt has mellowed out in this regard and is considerably wittier. Although I'm not going to dock too many points off because this transition makes sense. He's obviously grown in the years since the books, so being more secure in who he is by literally rediscovering that makes sense. Plus, he's still the grumpy, abrasive white knight trying to pretend he's anything but. Honestly, that's the crux of his character and CD Projekt Red gets that right. He's also a man that loves deeply in both iterations, whether that be his friends, his Witcher brothers, his lovers, or Ciri, his kid. So overall, I'll give Jerry an 8 out of 10 for book accuracy, with the main changes being artistic choices, it seems. Next, we move on to Ciri. Now, I'm going to ignore The Witcher 4 because we don't have enough context to go over that, but Ciri looks like how she did in the books, just older. She has a green eyes, white hair, the scar that Torniel gave her with an Orion, and her sword Zirel. She's also tall, slim, and athletic in build, in both the final book and The Witcher 3, so visually I think CD Projekt Red nailed it. It's the same girl except she's a young woman now, and the game even has the tattoo she got when she was with the rats. Her outfit is a bit all over the place, but I'm a dripless swine, so I'm not going to comment on that too much. It's tougher to say personality wise because she's around 12 and 13 at the start of the book series and around 16 to 17 at the end. I'm assuming she's maybe 20 or 23 in The Witcher 3, which is tougher to figure out because her dimensional travelling warps time. People can change a lot between being a teenager and a young adult, and that seems to be what happened with Ciri. She was quite bratty and quick to anger in the books, but she's mellowed out a lot in The Witcher 3, although some of her youthful brattiness does come out from time to time. like when she played rock paper scissors with Geralt. To be fair, she's with her dad again, and being around family does tend to pry some of the immaturity out of people. The years seem to have calmed down her kind of psychotic streak from the books, and chilling with Galahad in Camelot probably helped in this regard, which is where she ends up at the end of the book series. She's headstrong, although I'd argue she's far more headstrong in the books, and is someone who's way too stubborn to ever give up on anything ever. While I would have liked to see some of her psychotic behaviour come back after Vesemir's death, being around Geralt probably helped temper that. Still, she's a little watered down, although I do think it's believable that the book and game series are the same person, just with a different age and added maturity. So, Ciri gets an 8.5 out of 10. Then we have Triss, who is basically an entirely different character. I mean, the games have her as a ginger, like a bright red ginger, while the books refer to her hair as chestnut, which isn't a world away, but it is one of Triss's defining features in the books, so it is odd that they are different. Triss also bears scars from the Battle of Sodden, and is a reason why she declares that she'll never wear a plunging neckline again, but that is a plunging neckline if I've ever seen one. Now, these scars could be psychological. There's a bit of a debate in that and what the actual scene is trying to imply, but still, that's a plunging neckline. Don't get me wrong, Triss's game look is iconic. It's just not accurate. Even her eyes are a different colour. They are blue in the books, and unless this video is how I discover that I'm colourblind, I'm pretty sure that's a green. Now, you can largely ignore aesthetic differences, but the thing is, Triss's personality is quite different as well. Sure, she still likes Geralt, but she's obsessed with him in the books. Also, she's kind of a horrible person. She's got the backbone of an octopus, is manipulative and easily influenced by others. In the games, she's tough, heroic, self-sacrificing, and stands up for what she believes in. None of which are things I'd associate with the book version of her. She's just a far better person in the games, and someone who would actually stand up to the Lodge of Sorceresses. Now, in both iterations, she still has her youthful energy and is outwardly kind and caring, but these two are not the same person. And I kinda think it was the right decision from CD Projekt Red to make people like Triss. Still, she gets a book accuracy score of 3 out of 10.
I changed a lot. You can too. Win, 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 no matter what.
To contrast Triss, we have Yennefer, who is a raging bitch in The Witcher 3, and that could not be more accurate. This is the face of a brilliant woman who could not give less of a damn what you think. Let's quickly touch on her appearance, because I've not got many notes. She's got black hair, she wears an obsidian star, she has violet eyes, and wears black and white. It's about as accurate as you can get, and while the books say she has more wavy hair, which we do get in the earlier trailers and cinematics, that's kind of the only difference I can find. The Witcher 3 still has her as a controlling, strong-willed, hot-headed, viper-tongued and highly intelligent woman who will stop at nothing to get what she wants. Of course, the focus has shifted in The Witcher 3 compared to her appearance in The Last Wish, with her doing everything she can to find and protect Ciri, but her motherliness shines through in both. Yennefer spends a decent amount of time trying to be a mum in the books, and basically becomes Ciri's. This is doubled down in The Witcher 3, and while she is highly volatile in both, she is warmer in the games, although not by much. Her cold, volatile nature and somewhat nasty behaviour is what turned a lot of people off from Yennefer in the games, but it can't be denied that she's a woman who loves deeply, even if that love is seldom. Trust me, Yennefer might be mean to Ciri in the books, calling her an ugly duckling, but she'd move heaven and earth to protect her. It's kind of a shame that CD Projekt Red didn't give us more Yennefer and Ciri scenes together to really nail this dynamic, but as it stands, they made Yennefer very book accurate in my opinion. 9 out of 10. So, these are my rankings, and let me know if you disagree or if you want another one of these videos, since there are plenty more Witcher characters. I'm obviously expecting some disagreement since books are more interpretive than games, but if you are a Witcher whiz, feel free to add some comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.
Now he roams through hill and valley, and the canyons open wide, singing songs of gentle morning for his lost and lonesome bride, for his lost and lonesome bride.